just want to say a few words on the artist book. One thing for sure, you got to be an artist to do an artist book. Now, I learned, it sounds like it's something easy, but it's not. I learned the hard way. Actually, my history with print and matter goes back. I think 2 of my books were rejected right away, right? It was one in the 90s and one was back in the 70s. But I fought my way in somehow. I said, listen, I live down here and I came to New York to do my thing, as they say. But I went to school in the late 60s. I didn't go to art school. In those days, we protested. We actually closed down the school the year I graduated. We protested against the war. We protested against the whole society. And then I came to New York in the early 70s, kind of just to do my thing. That's what that was my tribe, just do our thing in New York. And sometime in the it was 1981, the first year of Reagan, there was a flood of dope. Downtown, uptown, we used to call it. And there was also a lot of loose money that year. It totally took us by surprise. Because none of us knew how to market ourselves. And we were, I have to look at my notes. We did know how to market ourselves. And suddenly we realized, we were just snobs. We were poor, persistent, hip snobs. And we had to build our reputations. And fast. MTV was on the air. And MTV, it was a cable and it cost money. So we just knew that we had to launch our lucrative careers. So that was 1981. I want to jump right to the 90s because that's the decade, that's the last decade of the last century, the last millennium, right? And it's hardly remembered. It's an unlearned dream that somehow the weight of that decade is still upon us in an unforeseeable future. The 90s, I visited my goddaughter's 2nd grade class up in the Catskills. And I was totally surprised that there were like 25 kids in the class, and they all said what they wanted to be when they grow up. And luckily my goddaughter said she wanted to be a veterinarian. A couple smart kids wanted to be lawyers. Some poor kid wanted to be like his father, who was a lumberjack. But the vast majority, like 80% of the kids, said that I want to be an artist. I couldn't believe it. This is 95. I said, wow. Not only did they say they wanted to be artists, they said they wanted to have a career as an artist. I said, Jim.
How old are these people?
They were 7, 8 years old. This is a true story. I always tell the truth. So what it is, Walter, you got any music? What did the next millennium have in store for them? I have no idea. I always like to be honest, so what I should be saying is I didn't know what the next millennium was going to have in store for me. So,
Refreshing.
all right, so guys, where are we?
Colonization.
Yeah,
War.
please heckle me too.
Marriage.
Please, I like interaction. So we're in a brave new digital world. There's always a need for new work. I don't have any problem doing the work. I know this is kind of boring, what we see every day. But this is where we live. I have a series called The Hills of Manhattan. Do you know what that is? That's what the native people called this place. It was full of hills. Today it's full of buildings.
Oh my God.
You showed me that movie.
You got that movie? Yeah, someone did that movie. Who did the movie? Cornell. Joseph Cornell? No.
Watson.
Right.
James Sidney.
Or Jacob Burckhardt. Somebody did that.
Alexander Hamilton.
No one knows our history,
In
or
the 20s,
it was made in the 20s.
Which movie are you talking
Joseph
about?
Cornell, I think. This is
Show
what they
next
call
Friday,
it. Next Saturday is going to be showing here.
on that wall.
So it's much easier today to photograph. It's much easier to take better photographs. But I still have the problem of marketing it myself. It's just the way it is because the field is fuller and fuller. But I get it. I really get it because I get it because only 10% of you get me anyway, unless I'm marketed to you beforehand. And if I'm marketed to you beforehand, then my odds are a little bit better, no?
Huh.
I'll buy that.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm going to talk about I have a new career. It's tour guiding. It sounds romantic. Honestly, it's a job, and you got to deal with the consumer public. I mean, you have to market yourself. I'm a photographer doing photo tours. I can't just be a tour guide. I'm a downtown artist for 5 decades. I could talk about 500 years of life on this island. But I'm just not a tour guide. I have to kind of market myself. I just can't believe it. I don't know. I can be honest with you and say, listen, I'm an older guy. I need to get out of the house. I need to talk to someone, right? So, I'm almost done here. So, here we are. We're at Highline.